Pokemon FireRed Omega, a version of Pokemon FireRed that adds more Pokemon and harder battles to the base Kanto experience. But we aren't here for fun. We're here to start the Drayano Gauntlet, a challenge created by Pt.1 where you beat 4 difficult RomHacks all in a row without using a damage calculator. And if you wipe in one of them, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. Since I don't stream, unless you want me to, let me know, I'll be attempting this challenge in 4 parts, one for each game. So let's see if we can beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon FireRed Omega without using a damage calculator. This is the Drayano Gauntlet. In Pallet Town, all seems normal. We try to run into the tall grass, Oak grabs us by our armpits and walks us back to the lab, but instead of getting offered the typical starter Pokemon, we get a choice of 3 baby Pokemon, Magby, Elekid, and Smoochum. Their evolutions have been buffed to a comical degree in this game. Like, what do you mean Electabuzz has 560 base stat total? Well, I'm gonna definitely take that, so I'm sure I'll get something to handle Brock later, right? While I'm doing Oak's chores and getting Pokeballs, I'm just gonna say that I don't have a ton of experience with this game. I basically just watched Peachal Daily, so I'm sure I'll be fine. Unabomber package delivered, so now let's start getting some encounters. On Route 1, we grab the 10% Ponyta that I named Jockey, another great Brock Pokemon. Then we get back to Viridian City. Since we have the Old Rod now, I roll the fishing encounter here instead of the grass, and we get rewarded with Influencer, the Barboach. Pete, why is it named Influencer? Well, think about it. It evolves into what? A catfish. We still aren't done getting encounters quite yet, since we can access Route 22, which leads to the Pokemon League. We can't go there yet, obviously, but we can at least get another encounter in the grass, a Mankey named Coach. On Route 2, we get to make a choice. Either roll our random encounter in the grass, or get a random Hoenn starter from this scientist. I would only like Shroomish, I guess, from this grass, so I'm going to take my shot on the random starter. Mudkip? Honestly, that's not bad, especially for Surge later on. In the Viridian Forest, there's 2 notable things to discuss. First, we have to fight our first trainer of the run. Yay! I mean, he's only got a level 9 Paris, so yeah, but we do get our first grass type though, an Oddish named Lashtech. Pewter City, home of Gym Number 1 and apparently a Togepi egg? I mean, I don't think I would have taken it either way because there's a new patch of grass that's added here where you can pick up a Sunstone, which is great for the most common encounter here, Sunkern, which I luckily catch and nickname Botanist. Thanks to that free stone, we get a fully evolved Sunflora for Gym Battle number 1. Pretty awesome. Speaking of Gym number 1, why don't we go take on Brock and his rock types and get this run started. Brock leads with Geodude and I lead with Barboach. This is a pretty easy one since rock ground types are 4 times weak to water moves, so we kind of just outspeed and get our first KO of the battle with a super effective water gun. Second up is the fossil Pokemon, Kabuto, but since it's a rock water type, I just swap out for my grass type Sunflora on a resisted mud shot for 3 damage. Then we tank a resisted water gun on the next turn before firing off a 4 times super effective Mega Drain to take down Brock's second Pokemon of the battle. Third up is Rhyhorn, who's also 4 times weak to grass moves. It does outspeed and hit a flamethrower, which is probably why it got switched out next, but Rhyhorn has awful special attack, so it only does 10 damage before we immediately get a one-shot KO with another Mega Drain. That's half of Brock's team down, and Vulpix is up 4th. I swap Sunflora for Mudkip, tank a resisted Ember, then we get outsped on the next turn and hit with a Confuse Ray. But thankfully we break through and hit a Mud Slap for like a quarter and getting an accuracy drop. I shake off the confusion by swapping to Barboach, who tanks an Ember, then he outspeeds and hits an Icy Wind, getting us a speed drop that'll be important later. After getting confused, again, I bring Mudkip back in and immediately get put to sleep. Back to Barboach we go, so we get burned by an Ember before a couple water guns bring down the 4th Pokemon of the battle. We're back to rock types now, as Brock sends out Omanyte next. I swap Barboach for Sunflora, tanking the incoming water gun no problem, then after we waste some time with the Protects, a 4 times super effective Mega Drain brings it down. That leaves Brock with only 1 Pokemon left, but it's his ace, Onix. Since it's pretty fast for this point in the game, the AI is disincentivized to use its best stab move, Rock Tomb, since it lowers your opponent's speed and Onix is already faster, so all we'd have to do is tank a Swagger, then fire off 1 more Mega Drain to bring down Brock's ace. With that, we've won our first patch of the run, and we've still got plenty of tough battles ahead of us. On the way out of Pewter City, one of Oak's attendants gives us the running shoes. Thank God. And now it's time for the section of the game I like to call Encounter City. After Ponyta rolls through some bug catchers, we grab a Vulpix on Route 3 named Firefighter, which is so good for the upcoming gym battle. Yay! Then in Mount Moon, I decide to get my B1F encounter at a chance at either Aeron, Larvitar, or Bagon. and I get rewarded. Welcome Chef to the team, everybody. We take down a Rocket Grunt and a Super Nerd, then we get to pick a fossil, and of course, we're gonna go for Lord Helix himself. Cinnabar Island is a long way to go though, so we'll discuss her a little bit later. After climbing a couple ladders, we pop out at Route 4 and grab an Electrike named King's Guard, before arriving in Cerulean City, home of the second gym. We aren't worrying about that one quite yet though, because we've got a few important things to take care of. One of those is the first battle against our rival since Oak's lab. He leads with Golbat, but since I've got an electric type starter, we make pretty quick work of that with a Thunder Punch, so then Blue's Abra is second. It only has Teleport, so yeah, but third is Smoochum, and this little freak is a fucking demon. Elekid gets some chip with Thunder Punch, then we get frozen by Ice Punch, no big deal. I swap to Ponyta on another Ice Punch, that also gets the freeze, that's kind of insane. Plus our Flame Wheel didn't even KO, so now we're in crit range. I pivot through Sunflora, then into Marshtomp, who gets dunked on by a neutral Ice Punch, Jesus Christ. Then I go to Sunflora again, who barely survives. Plus it froze my third Pokemon of the battle. Can we relax, please? Well, now I'm risking another crit to bring Ponyta back in, and thankfully she survives it. So a Flame Wheel takes out the Ice-type starter. Blue still has Snubble left, but like, it's a Snubble, so Mankey makes pretty quick work of it. I've got to watch out for that Smoochum/Jinx in the future, I guess. Our reward for winning that battle is 5 more fights. Well, after we do that, we get 3 encounters. A Horsey named Colonel that I fish up from Cerulean, a Volbeats from Route 24 that I named Warden, and Ralts the Drag Queen that thankfully doesn't teleport away from me on Route 25. I think this is a great time to mention that I'm not going to use setup moves in this run at all. I don't love spamming Swords Dance to easily sweep a fight, so I'm just gonna not do it. So no Tailglow Volbeat strats in the future. Bill is doing something with a Clefairy? Bro, I'm gonna go now, but I'm going to take this SS ticket as reward for my mental damage, okay? Since we're going to need all the help we can get against Misty, we're going to travel around and cash in some encounters from around Kanto early. We get access to Route 5, where Air Traffic Controller the Tailo joins the team. Then we head through the underground path and chat with this hiker who gives us a random Johto starter. And it looks like it's Chikorita. I won't complain about Florist, since last time I did, someone told me they instantly disliked the video, so don't do that. Like it instead. Route 6 nets us a Lombre, which is a pretty solid 4x water resist. Then once we arrive in Vermilion City, home of the third gym, I learned that this little dweeb in the uniform isn't just trying to raise money for the Boy Scouts, he's giving me free shit. So here in Vermilion, he gives me a Soft Sand and a Poison Barb, and I'm excited to see what he's going to give me back in Cerulean. So after getting a Good Rod and grabbing a Magikarp named Performer on Route 11, we get gifted even more trinkets, like the super crucial Evolution Stones. We do get a ton of evolutions going up to the level cap, enough that I'm literally not going to waste my time naming them all, but these stones give us 2 huge power boosts for the upcoming gym battle, Ludicolo and Vileplume. Can they carry us through this water type gym? Let's see what Misty has to offer. Misty leads with Staryu and I lead with Vileplume. It outspeeds and uses Harden to boost its defense, but our special Mega Drain doesn't really care about that, securing us a one-shot KO, no problem. Second up is Psyduck, who's got Aerial Ace as coverage, but when it outspeeds and connects with one, that's not a big deal, especially because we're using Mega Drain to heal ourselves back up. Misty does use a super potion here, so after using an acid to get the most out of Mega Drain healing next turn, Psyduck goes down. Next up is Seadra, and it's got Ice Beam to threaten our grass type, but I feel pretty confident that we're gonna survive. So I stay in and tank it without risking a critical hit before Mega Drain drops Seadra to the red, healing us out of crit range. After a Stun Spore on what I thought was gonna be a heal turn, we easily outspeed and finish off Misty's third Pokemon of the battle. Fourth up is Luvdisc, who got some huge stat buffs in this game, but a super effective Aurora Beam only does 16 damage, so Vileplume hits another Mega Drain, then we swap out to Sunflora, who gets to deal with Attract. Yay! We get immobilized by Love once, but after tanking 2 Aurora Beams, Mega Drain takes down the Renegade Platinum Demon. And fifth up is Togetic, a nice nod to the anime. My grass type is threatened here, so in comes Elekid on a Thunder Wave that paralyzes my Volt Absorb Electric type. Make that one make sense. Togetic's gimmick in this fight is that it has Metronome, and then it can just kind of randomly KO my Pokemon if it rolls the right moves, but we get fairly lucky in that regard at least, since it only rolled Rain Dance, but after a Thunder Wave and a couple quick attacks, Elekid just barely misses the KO with Thunder Punch. Then it rolls a 120 base power Stab Thrash to knock our starter down to 9 HP. After a bit of Oranberry recovery, I swap to Bayleaf to tank the next turn of Thrash, then we trade heals with a Soda Pop and a Synthesis. I'm expecting it to Thunder Wave now, so I take this free swap into pre-burned Swellow, who's free to fire off a Guts boosted Quick Attack and Wing Attack. bringing down Misty's 5th Pokemon. That leaves only her ace Starmie to take care of, so I swap in Bayleaf, who tanks a resisted Shockwave and Water Pulse, before firing off a super effective Magical Leaf, dropping Starmie to just above half. After getting confused by a Water Pulse but breaking through to heal with Synthesis, I bring out Ludicolo for the 4x resist. From here, we can fake out for some free damage before starting our Mega Drain stall. We stay fairly healthy and dodge some full paras, but overall, Ludi handles this super well. With that, we've taken down Misty and it's time for our date with Vermilion. Since we've already cleared out the way to Vermilion, we just get back pretty quick and then head aboard the SS Ant. Just outside the actual ship, we fish up a Krabby named Boxer, who we're not gonna see again, sorry. Then we head inside for another battle against Blue. I'm gonna skip over this one for now, but he's starting to get a little bit more threatening, so he'll definitely be back. We give the captain our special service. Then we get given the HM cut, and with it, access to the 3rd gym. Just outside the gym though, this chef decides to offer me a random Kanto starter, and we roll a Charmander. So Limo Driver is joining the team, and we've rolled one of each type of random starter. Before we actually head inside, Diglett's Cave blesses us with a Diglett, come on, it's in the name. This should be great for the upcoming Electric Gym, so let's head inside, skip the puzzle because it got removed, thank you, and we'll challenge Surge for our 3rd gym badge of the run. Surge leads with Flaffy, and I lead with Dugtrio. We're way faster here, so the 2-turn dig is a totally safe way to get a free KO, but since Static just had to paralyze us, Dugtrio can't just sweep the entire fight. Second is Chinchou to threaten with Water Pulse, so a Gyarados pivot tanks it safely. Having a 4x weakness to electric moves on my team might seem a little weird, but it's actually great for free swaps into my ground types, like into Marshtomp here on a Shockwave for free. We do miss a Mud Shot along the way, but it's still pretty safe for us to win this 1v1 with a couple more. Third up is Surge's ace, Raichu, but since it's looking to use Focus Punch, I pivot through Gyarados again for a safe swap to Barboach, then we can just abuse Focus Punch since it can't hit us if we damage it on the same turn. Raichu gets packed up, and 4th up for Surge is Manectric. Crunch does way more damage than I thought it would, okay. So after a Magnitude 7, I pivot through Gyarados into Dugtrio to tank a really strong Flamethrower, before a limp Magnitude 4 can't even KO it from the yellow. Great one, Dugtrio. Now Marshtomp has to die. Wait, why? Well, I thought it would outspeed Manectric, bad call, but at least Electabuzz can get the revenge KO with Ice Punch. Jolteon is up 5th, but it only has Shockwave and a weak physical Pin Missile for attacking moves, so it's not even worth talking about. A few Ice Punches later, and Surge is down to his final Pokemon, Magneton. The plan here is to paralyze it with Thunder Wave from Electabuzz, then take it down with Magnitude from one of my ground types. By using Gyarados as a pivot to keep baiting electric moves, I can heal up my Volt Absorb starter just in case we have to take any more damage. Surge does have to use a full heal, so after a couple rounds of pivoting, we've successfully got the status. I bring in Barboach for free in a Shockwave, then he takes it down with a 4x super effective Magnitude 7. Surge has been defeated, and the Kanto region just got blown wide open. Let's keep this going. With 3 badges safely obtained, I do a quick run back to Pewter City to see what I missed from the guy in the Pokemon Center. It was nothing, by the way. Then we continue our progress through Route 9, where I miss this patch of grass and skip our encounter by accident. On Route 10 though, we do miss out on the Magnemite and rule a Voltorb named Durologist instead, and if you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not Google. Rock Tunnel is uneventful, but we do grab a Magnet Pull Nosepass named Surgeon, who might help us get another Steel type later on. Then we arrive in Lavender Town. This isn't important now, but we'll be back a little bit later. On Route 8, we grab an Abra named Taste Tester, who will be able to evolve into Alakazam later on. Then after a quick trip through the underground tunnel, we grab a Skiploom named Dry Cleaner on Route 7. Welcome to Celadon City, home of the 4th gym and the casino, where I'm going to be spending all my time from now on. What? I'm really missing football, okay? This father gives me his coin case so he can start providing for his family, lock the in and put it all in red. Then we buy up a ton of coins and buy a Scyther named Fisherman as our encounter. We'll see him a little bit later, mostly because I didn't read the documentation and saw that his evolution got changed to level up. So yeah, sorry about that one, my bad. After a pretty quick trek through the Rocket Game Corner hideout, we have our first meeting with Giovanni, whose Persian kinda gives me multiple heart attacks, but overall it wasn't too bad. With the Sylph Scope now in our possession, we could go tackle the Lavender Town stuff now, but instead we're gonna stay here and dance with Gym Leader Erika and her grass types. Erika leads with Victory Bell and I lead with Gardevoir. Its poison typing isn't doing it any favors here, so we pretty easily outspeed and pick up our first KO with a super effective Psychic. Second up is Ludicolo, so Gardevoir gets some chip with another Psychic before it sets up the rain. Then Vileplume comes in to tank the now boosted Surf. Jesus Christ, that's resisted. Well, since that was a crit, I want to stay in here and risk another so we keep our tempo, and thankfully we don't get punished, surviving in the red and getting some chip with Mega Drain, before we swap into Jump Bluff to tank 2 more pretty safely. From here, we finish off Erika's Swift Swimmer with an Aerial Ace after the rain ends. Third is Blissey, who's a little bit broken on the special defense front. Like, what do you mean 255 HP and 135 special defense? Well, I swapped to Ponyta on the incoming Ice Beam for the resist, and now we're not really threatened by its low special attack, or its guaranteed 34 damage Seismic Toss. So here, we're free to fire off a few double kicks until it goes down. We're left just above half HP after a berry and we're paralyzed, but that should be probably fine. Fourth up is Erika's co-ace, Blossom, but it only has Leaf Blade as an attacking move. It does have 90 special attack, so after doing a ton of damage to Ponyta before we get a bit of chip, I swap to Ninetales, who gets crit, misses the KO on the next turn, then makes up for it by getting a crit of her own later, taking down one ace and bringing out the other one next, Vileplume. In hindsight, Ninetales clearly doesn't get this KO here, but is that going to stop past me from going for it? Of course not. Everyone say bye, Ninetales. Bye, Ninetales. I bring in pre-burn Swellow to clean this fight up now, so we outspeed and take down Vileplume with a guts boosted Aerial Ace, leaving Erika with only her Jump Bluff left. We go up in the air with Fly. Jump Bluff sets the sun to activate its Chlorophyll ability, but now we don't even have to risk taking a hit if Fly doesn't KO, because it's faster than us. We get the KO regardless, one-shotting Jump Bluff and winning us the 4th Dream Badge of the run, but, you know, the little things. Let's go check out that tower, huh? With half of Kanto's badges in our case, let's go help out the people of Lavender Town, the cheapest place to live in Pokemon, probably. Like, come on, no one is living in this haunted-ass town. We have another battle with Blue here, but this is the first instance of Jinx absolutely ruining my day, outspeeding and almost KOing my Charizard. I'm sure this thing won't be a problem later. After catching Seamstress the Shuppet, we save Mr. Fiji, and now we've got to do some major exploring of the rest of the region. On Route 16, we wake up and catch a Snorlax named Clown, then we grab a Venonat from Route 12, skip this grass patch on Route 13 because I'm an idiot, grab Peachow's favorite Pokemon on Route 14, and then a Bellsprout on Route 15 before we finally arrive in Fuchsia City, home of gym number 5. In the Safari Zone, if you go to the east area, repelling with a level 41 Pokemon in the front of your party, the only Pokemon you can get are Skarmory and Vibrava. Since I'm also leading with Nosepass with a Magnet Pull ability, we basically have guaranteed ourselves a Skarmory. Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. No, I wanted F1 driver anyways. Safari Zone Contest 1, Gold Teeth found and returned, ew. Now we've got a bunch of HMs and only a couple things left to do here. First, we fish up a Goldeen named Court Jester in Fuchsia who's never leaving the box. Then we make our way through Koga's theme park Mirror Maze gym before taking him and his poison types on for badge number 5. Koga leads with Weezing and I lead with Alakazam. Koga is normally a pretty tough fight in this game, but having a really fast plus speed nature psychic type with a monster 135 special attack stat makes it a whole lot easier. Weezing gets easily one shot by psychic and so does Venomoth when it comes out second, so Koga's hopes and dreams rely on his ace coming out third, Crobat. I'm a little worried we're not going to outspeed now, so I swapped to Snorlax, completely forgetting that Poison is a physical type in Gen 3, so our special bulk doesn't do a whole lot. I swap into Dugtrio now to try to get a speed drop for Alakazam, but Crobat is faster than us, taking down my ground type in one shot. Well, now I've got to risk a crit on Snorlax, looking to hit a yawn and get Alakazam a free turn, and thankfully, he survives an attack in the red. I pivot through Wishcash on the next turn, and then I bring in Alakazam on the guaranteed turn of sleep. I really need this to sleep for one more turn here. Oh, we outspeed. So I did all of that for nothing. Cool. Sorry, Dugtrio, my bad. Fourth up is Fortress, but since Alakazam learns Fire Punch by level up and since all fire moves are special in Gen 3, that's another free KO. Fifth up is Tentacruel, and I'm sure you can guess what we're going to do at this point. One Psychic to the face later, and Koga is down to his last Pokemon, Electrode. I swapped to Wishcash on a Thunder Wave that we're immune to, and now the battle is in the bag. Electrode only has 2 damaging moves, Explosion and Thunder. It obviously can't use Thunder against my ground type, but the AI also won't click Explosion if it's the final Pokemon that they have left. That means Wishcash is totally free to roll a bunch of low magnitudes before eventually taking it down. With that, we're through gym number 5 of the run, and we've got a pretty tough section coming up. Thanks to the tea that we got from Grandma earlier, we bribed the guard, and just like that, we're in Saffron City. The fighting dojo is under-leveled, oops, but we do get Car Salesman the Hitmonlee for our troubles. Silphco seems threatening, but since the puzzle is the same as in regular FireRed, we can just do the super fast skip, only fighting one trainer before our battle against Blue. Alakazam one-shots Crobat, then Wishcash is immune to the incoming Thunderbolt, leading to a KO with Earthquake. After that, Blue gives us a free chain kill when Houndoom comes out, so half his team is gone before his own Alakazam threatens us. We get a Choice Band tricked onto our Gardevoir. Thanks, I guess. But after that, our own Alakazam finishes it off, then Jinx finally comes out. Snorlax does a decent job countering it, so we don't lose a Pokemon, but I'm really starting to think I should have picked Magby as my starter. That's Blue down again, and we're given our free Lapras cast form? Really? Okay. Giovanni stands in our way now, and his team is nothing to sneeze at. He's also got random AI in this battle, so it's less of a strategic battle and more of a true vibes-based battle. Houndoom is fairly easy for Whiscash to handle. Nidoking gets locked into Body Slam thanks to his Choice Band, so Meganium and Gyarados can stall it out. Ludicolo almost gets killed by a random Megahorn from Rhydon, but we barely survive and get healed up by Giga Drain, which lets us stay in and get a chain kill on Flygon with Ice Beam right after. Next up is Cloyster, who somehow survives special attacks from Ludi and Gyarados to almost kill us. Then Salamence barely wins a 1v1 against his ace Persian. Master Ball acquired, and now we don't have to deal with Team Rocket again for at least a little bit. With the region safe for now, it's time to start planning for Sabrina. I kind of want to reteach Banette Snatch for strategy, but for that I need to go to Cinnabar. So along the way, I grab Comedian the Mr. Mime from Route 21, Patisserie the Tentacruel from Route 19 instead of the Quillfish that I wanted, a Sneasel named Detective that I got after repel manipping on the wrong floor, great job, a Magnemite from the Power Plant named Math Teacher, then after we reach Cinnabar Island, we grab a Wingull named Cashier from Route 20. Throw in our restored Helix Fossil, Artist the Ammonite, and we've got some great encounters here. Will any of these Pokemon actually make an appearance in the rest of the run? Maybe? Like one of them? I don't know. Oh, also, Bill isn't even here for the Sevi Islands thing, so I can't even relearn a move anyways, unless they moved it and I have no idea where it went. So that was all a waste of time. Yay! Well, whatever. Let's go see if Sabrina feels like wiping me with her psychic types. Sabrina leads with Mr. Mime, and I lead with Banette. Ash's dad has an interesting moveset, since it only has status moves like Both Screens and Calm Mind. The idea is that it'll baton pass the boost to a better Pokemon in the back, and then whoever that is can sweep my team. My solution to this is completely stolen from Pichao, but whatever. Banette learns the move Snatch, a dark type status move that's also a TM that you can use to steal your opponent's status move from them so that you can use it yourself. So we can freely steal a bunch of screens and Calm Mind boosts, getting up to +5 special attack and defense, while also keeping those boosts out of Mr. Mime's disgusting weird fingers. I know I said earlier that I don't use setup moves, but this isn't me doing it, it's clearly Mr. Mime, so it's fair game in my books. Now that we're out of Snatch PP, we can start taking down Sabrina's team. All of our ghost moves are physical in Gen 3, so we don't have any benefit from those Calm Mind boosts, but Banette should have high enough attack at 115 to get these KOs regardless. Mr. Mime goes down in one shot, even with it holding its focus band, and second up is Gardevoir. It tries to set up a Wish for some healing, but that's not going to help it survive a Shadow Ball. And third up is Espeon. Calm Mind boosts its special stats, but that's not going to help, so Shadow Ball number 3 gets us another KO. Fourth is Gengar, who actually tries to damage us, but the +5 special defense that we got from stealing those Calm Minds keeps us safe and we get our 4th KO of the battle. Fifth up is Jinx, who's caused me a lot of trouble in this run so far, but here it just misses a Psycho Boost before going down to Shadow Ball, and just like that, Sabrina is only left with her ace, Alakazam. It hits a Psychic for a little bit too much damage through +5, but Banette dodges the crit and finishes off this battle. I had some backup plans in case Banette got crit along the way, but we didn't even need to use them. On to the next. Since I've already covered the journey to Cinnabar, let's just fly back over and head straight into the Pokemon Mansion. We repel Manip for a higher chance at Growlithe, which we hit, so welcome security to the team. We run around a little bit, grab the secret key, then solve some riddles before challenging the Fire-type leader of Kanto, Blaine. Blaine leads with Arcanine and I lead with Kingdra. My plan here is to try to get as much done with Kingdra as possible, so of course I misclick an Aurora Beam on the first turn, and this snowballs into me tanking 2 extreme speeds instead of 1, and the second one that we shouldn't have had to take punishes me immediately by getting a crit and knocking us down to the yellow before the Surf gets the KO. A Citrus Berry helps with some recovery, but now I'm a little sketched out for the rest of this battle. Second is Ninetales, but thankfully it just misses a Hypnosis before Surf forces Blaine to heal, and then a Bubble Beam drops its speed so we don't have to risk another one. Third up is Typhlosion, who barely survives a Surf, but an Earthquake doesn't do too much damage, so Kingdra is free to get another KO here. Solrock is fourth, but it's less bulky than the Johto starter we just took care of, so that's an easy one with Surf. Fifth is another starter, Blaziken, but it's also weaker than its Mono-type counterpart from earlier, so Kingdra takes down her 5th Pokemon of the battle with a super effective Surf. Blaine is left only with his ace now, one of the starter options, Magmar. This could have been our starter if I chose it, so I need to prove that we made the better choice. I swap out to Whiscash, but the FireRed Omega starter sets up a substitute, protecting itself from damage next turn. Fire Blast does a ton of damage, that was resisted by the way. Then we get rid of the sub with an Earthquake before swapping out to Pelipper to tank the next resisted Fire Blast. That's so much damage. Protect tells me that it's going Thunder Punch now, so I swap into Salamence to tank it before wasting a Fire Blast PP with our own Protect. But the AI absolutely reads me, using this free turn to set up another substitute. Fire Blast then does big damage on the next turn, Dragon Claw breaks the sub, and then my laptop died. I was on vacation recording this because I can't leave Pokemon at home, and I was being lazy and not getting the charger. Thankfully the recording did survive, but enjoy this frozen gameplay while I panic to try to fix it. After the Citrus Berry helps us tank another Fire Blast, it literally didn't miss a single one, by the way. Then our Pseudo Legendaries finishes off the final Pokemon of the battle with a Fly. That's 7 badges for us, and the 8th one is just around the corner. Right as we walk out of the gym, Bill shows up. Yeah, a little late, buddy, but I'll still take the move relearner, I guess. It's still not here. Well, since we can't do that, let's just fly back to the first city we visited after leaving home, Viridian, and challenge the leader of Team Rocket, Giovanni, who also happens to be the 8th gym leader. Let's wrap this up, huh? Giovanni leads with Flygon, and I lead with Ludicolo. It doesn't have a great moveset against our Water Grass type, so after it hits a Fire Blast, a 4x super effective Ice Beam makes quick work of this googly-eyed dragon. Second up is Rhydon, which also isn't a great idea since it's 4x weak to both of Ludicolo's types. So a Giga Drain heals back all the damage we just took, and Giovanni is down to 4 Pokemon. Next is Tyranitar, who sets up the sand with its ability. So I swap to Gyarados on the incoming Dragon Dance. Well, it should be still going Rock Slide now. So I bring in Hitmonlee to resist it. From here, we fire off I see. Well, sorry about that. Since it has to recharge now, I bring in Kingdra to clean this one up. What the f? 65% accuracy, no recharge? Okay, sure, why not? Well, a Surf gets us a one-shot KO anyways, but I'm glad I only lost Hitmonlee to learn that lesson. Fourth up is Cacturne, so I swap to Scizor to resist the Needle Arm, then we fire off a 4x super effective Silverwind for an easy KO. Fifth up is Swampert, so Ludicolo comes back in on a Hydro Cannon, which I know changed to a recharge move, but it missed because of the 40% accuracy. From here, a Giga Drain misses the KO, okay, but a resisted Earthquake doesn't really threaten our Part Grass type. A couple more Giga Drains and down goes the Hoenn starter, and Giovanni is left with 1 Pokemon. His ace, Persian. I swap to Magneton to dodge a Hypnosis, then we tank a resisted Double Edge easily before a Thunderbolt barely misses the KO, but shout out Tyranitar for the sand, since that does the tiny little bit of extra damage I needed to bring down Persian. The leader of Team Rocket is down, and we've got all 8 badges. Next stop, the Pokemon League. Welcome back to Route 22. This time we can actually explore the whole thing. We fight Blue here again, but since we have a pretty nice level advantage, I'm going to save the time since we'll see him very soon. After passing through the badge check area, catching a Fearow that doesn't matter in the slightest, we arrive in Victory Road. I love that there's like 1 mandatory trainer in here, and you can fight some of them to thieve some cool items like the Pitaya Berry. I'm not going to do that since I already have my team basically set, but maybe this Marowak I'm repelling for could join the team. I killed it. Yeah, well, too late, whatever. Welcome to the Pokemon League. We fought some tough battles to be here, but we can't let off the gas yet, so let's talk about our final team. First up is our starter, Electabuzz. We need a fast electric type to deal with some problem Pokemon, and he fits that bill perfectly. The second Pokemon joining the team is going to be Ludicolo. He should be great for Lorelei and has really good ice coverage for Lance. Third up is Arcanine, who's providing Intimidate support and helping deal with a few Pokemon, primarily on the champion. Fourth up is Salamence, for a similar reason, Intimidate, great resistances, and can probably clean up a few Pokemon against Lance if we need to. Speaking of dragons, another one is going to be up 5th, and that's Kingdra. I was going to sack this on Blaine, but instead she's coming to the Elite Four. Great typing without the fairy type existing yet, and we should do surprisingly well against both Lorelei and Bruno. That leaves 1 slot left, and it's going to go to our heaviest hitter, Alakazam. This spoon-loving freak should clean up most of Agatha and Bruno, and hopefully is able to snag a few KOs in case we have any mishaps. Can these 6 Pokemon take me all the way to the Hall of Fame without using any damage calculators? Let's find out. The first Elite Four member we've got to take on is Lorelei and her ice types. She leads with Dugong and I lead with Ludicolo. Fake out into Ice Beam brings it down to the yellow, then a neutral Ice Beam doesn't freeze us, huge, so 1 more Giga Drain takes care of Lorelei's first Pokemon. Second up is Slowbro, and Giga Drain has been keeping us pretty healthy, so we'll stick to it here, using another one for about 75% before a Fire Blast hits, because I guess it has has 100% accuracy. Only for the AI, obviously. Another one brings Slowbro down and Wigglytuff comes out third. That's the second non-ice type in a row, by the way, but at least this one only has ice type attacking moves. This makes it a great candidate for Arcanine to switch in and get some value in this battle. We do get hit by a Perish Song on the switch in, then a Sing the turn after, so we can't even bring this thing down before we're both forced to swap. Me back into Ludicolo and her into Walrein. This thing has a super annoying set with Protect, Substitute, and Sheer Cold that can literally end the entire run with some bad RNG. But thankfully it just kinda kept going for Surf instead, so after Ludi hits a few Giga Drains to chip it down, I conserve the PP and let Electabuzz finish it off with a super effective Thunderbolt. That brings Wigglytuff back out to immediately die to another Thunderbolt. What the hell are you doing? Anyways, that's another Pokemon down, and Lorelei sends out Milotic 5th. Thunderbolt does really solid damage on the first turn, but then a Hydro Pump connects and almost takes down my starter. Psst, you know you can miss moves, right? A Citrus Berry helps out a little bit, then we finish off Milotic, leaving the first Elite Four member with only her ace, Lapras. We're gonna need all hands on deck to deal with this one, so Kingdra is up first. We trade a few Dragon Breaths for a few Ice Beams, then Ludi comes in to try to get some work done, only to get immediately crit and make this even sketchier than it already is. Our last Giga Drain PP does do some solid damage, so I think at this point if Alakazam doesn't die to this Ice Beam switching in, we should be in the clear. Oh, nice. A crit wouldn't have even killed. Super effective Shockwave finishes off Lapras from here, and we're through the first hurdle of the Elite Four. Only 3 left to go. Wait, how many hurdles are in a race? 10? Well, whatever. Bruno is the second Elite Four member in the Indigo League that we've got to face, and he leads with Steelix and I lead with Kingdra. This thing might be a monster on the physical side of defense, but its special defense is nothing special. See what I did there? I'm sorry. A single Mystic Water boosted Surf brings down Bruno's lead in one shot. Second up is Donphan for some reason, and it has even worse special defense than Steelix. I'll take a free chain kill though. Thanks Bruno, I appreciate it. Third up is Armaldo, not even a fighting type, by the way. Wait, have none of these been fighting types? Well, that's another water type weakness that we can exploit, so somehow we're halfway through this battle after just clicking Surf 3 times. Fourth out is Machamp, the first real fighting type of the battle, but I stay in and hit another Surf, doing about half before it sets up a light screen, really putting a damper on my whole sweeping with Surf thing. Obviously the next Surf doesn't KO, I don't know what I was thinking there, so Kingdra tanks a Cross Chop, then switches out into Arcanine as Bruno uses a full Restore. That's one Intimidate drop, so I get another by switching to Salamence on the Earthquake that he's immune to, then into Ludicolo on a Rock Slide. Fake out for some free damage, then a Giga Drain for solid chip, before another Light Screen makes me a little bit unhappy. Machamp, I'm gonna need you to knock the fuck off. A few more Giga Drains and some fast forwarding later, Machamp finally goes down. Good riddance. And next up is another fighting type, Hitmontop. I swap back to Salamence for another Intimidate as it sets up with Agility, then we Protect on a high jump kick that does a lot less crash damage than I thought it would, before we connect with a super effective Fly, taking care of the second best Hitmon. Listen, I'm not saying which one is worse, I'm just saying it's my second favorite. That leaves Bruno with only Poliwrath left, but since it doesn't have the ice coverage that it would need to threaten my dragon type, this is a pretty quick one. We're faster and all it takes is one super effective Fly to end this battle. We're halfway through this gauntlet and we aren't stopping now. Old Lady Agatha is third on the chopping block here, and I'm really hoping this one goes according to plan. She leads with Shedinja and I lead with Alakazam. Wonder Guard prevents damage from moves that aren't super effective, but since we still have Fire Punch from earlier, the Bug Ghost type doesn't stand a chance with literally one single point of HP. 1 down, 5 to go, and second up is Crobat. I've already learned that we're faster here. Sorry, again, Dugtrio. So that's a one-shot KO with super effective Psychic. Third up is Misdreavus, so I swapped to Salamence on a Mean Look, locking us into battle, but we aren't the ones trapped in here with Misdreavus. It's trapped in here with us. Crunch doesn't quite bring it down, but it just uses Perish Song, so another one takes care of the Ghost type on the next turn, bringing out Gengar fourth. Protect tells me it's going for Ice Punch, so I use this chance to get Alakazam back in safely. Another poison type gets obliterated by my psychic type, and fifth up is Hypno. It can only really do damage to me with Nightmare, but for that it needs to hit a Hypnosis first. It kind of just misses the first one as I recover back to full, then it kind of just forgets about that strat and just starts trying to set up Calm Minds. Yeah, I don't really know what the plan was there, but we kind of just get a crit with Fire Punch after a few turns, and Alakazam gets another completely unplanned KO. That leaves Agatha with only her Sableye left, so I swap out to Salamence to take basically nothing from a Shadow Ball after an Intimidate, then after a Dragon Claw does like 80%, it basically just gives up and uses guaranteed 65 damage Seismic Toss. That means one more attack is all it takes, and we've won our third battle of the Elite Four. Let's keep it going. The gatekeeper of the champion's room is the master of dragon types here in Kanto, Lance. He leads with Salamence and I lead with Kingdra. Leading with the dragon type might seem weird, but Lance's lead actually doesn't have a dragon type move. It clearly doesn't see a KO here since it just tries to set up with Dragon Dance, but a 4-time super effective Ice Beam puts an end to that pretty quick. Second up is Gyarados, who's only got Earthquake as a damaging move, so I pivot through Salamence to take a Thunder Wave, then swap to Electabuzz for free. Then we outspeed on the next turn and a 4-time super effective Thunderbolt is all it takes. Third up is Charizard, who again has a pretty exploitable moveset. With only ground and fire type attacking moves, Salamence is literally free to completely wall this. It does get a sub up on my switch turn, cheating ass AI. Then it uses Blast Burn, which is now 170 base power. Hello? Like, it does such solid damage even though Salamence has great stats and resists it. Since we did knock it down to the yellow with a Dragon Claw though, I swapped to Kingdra for the 4x resist. It does miss one, but even the one it hit only did like 35 damage, but it does burn us before a Surf brings down the Kanto starter. Fourth up is Lance's first Dragonite, but Kingdra is faster, and just like against Salamence, we can just press 4x super effective Ice Beam to take care of one of Lance's iconic Pokemon. Fifth up is Aerodactyl, and with the Choice Band and that crazy speed stat, I don't really want to switch anything into this. I can do the champion fight without Kingdra, so our water dragon type is going to need to take one for the team here. It outspeeds and hits a Choice Band Rock Slide that... Really? She survives that? Well, our Surf got a one-shot KO on Lance's terrifying Fossil, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Thanks to that burn that we got earlier, 40% chance by the way, thanks Dray, Kingdra doesn't get to walk away from this, taking some burn damage and succumbing to her injuries. That leaves only Lance's Ace Dragonite to take care of, but Ludicolo tanks an Ice Beam no problem, then fires off one of his own, taking down the final Pokemon of the battle. That leaves us one battle away from moving on to the next game in this gauntlet. So let's go see what Blue has in store for us. We head into the champion's room and find the person who's been standing in the way of our progress the entire run, our rival, Blue. He leads with Heracross and I lead with Salamence. Intimidate doesn't really matter here since we're faster and Heracross is 4x weak to fly, so we get a pretty easy KO here. And second up is Jinx, the problem Pokemon of this battle. Our Protect tells me that it's going for Ice Beam, so I swap to Arcanine to not only resist it, but also waste Jinx's held White Herb thanks to Intimidate. It should go for either Psycho Boost or Calm Mind here, so I bring in Alakazam, and unfortunately for us, Jinx starts setting up. That can ruin the entire plan for this fight, so we gotta get some damage here. So we hit a Fire Punch, and then a +1 Ice Beam takes down our Psychic type. Thanks for getting rid of those Crobats for me, buddy. I bring in Electabuzz now for the starter v starter battle. We hit a crucial Thunder Wave here to slow down Jinx, then we get a full para for our troubles, letting our electric type get off a Thunderbolt for some amazing chip before going down to a Psycho Boost. That extra damage means that Arcanine doesn't need to risk a crit anymore, and he can cleanly bring down Blue's scariest Pokemon on the next turn with a super effective Flamethrower. Third up is Metagross, a brand new Pokemon for our rival, and our Flamethrower can't quite get us a one-shot KO, but at least after an Earthquake KOs our third Pokemon of the battle, some Citrus Berry recovery for Blue Steel type keeps it out of healing range. That means when I bring in Salamence, we can easily get a revenge KO with a super effective Earthquake. Ampharos comes out fourth, which is insane after Blue just watched me use Earthquake, so that's an easy chain KO, leaving Blue with 2 Pokemon left. The first of those is Houndoom. That's another Pokemon that's weak to Earthquake, so thanks, I guess. Well, now we only have one Pokemon to deal with, and that's Venusaur. We're faster than the Kanto starter, so we use the 2-turn move Fly, which we connect with, and it's actually a one-shot KO. I wasn't expecting that, but we're taking that. With that, Blue has been taken down, and we've officially beaten a hardcore Nuzlocke of the first game of the Drayano Gauntlet, Pokemon FireRed Omega. Thanks guys so much for watching this one. Nuzlocking a RomHack without a calculator was kinda crazy, but I had a blast doing this one. I actually did most of this run either on the flight to my vacation or on my actual vacation. I literally can't stop Nuzlocking. I need help. If you want to pay for that help though, feel free to like and subscribe, or if you really feel like burning some money, become a YouTube member. It's kind of worthless, but yeah, that's the end of that sentence. Anyways, I'll be back with another run soon for the rest of the Drayano Gauntlet, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.